Hello friends, Jennifer Pearson here, Thistle Gypsy. Here to just say farewell to the Tarot of the Southwest Sacred Tribes. And by that I don't mean that I'm getting rid of it. So it's definitely a keeper. This is one where I was pleasantly surprised in that for one, I thought because nobody smiled, everybody seemed really somber in the deck. I wasn't sure what kind of a mood it would have, and it turned out to have quite a gentle spirit, quite a soft spirit. It's like, I wouldn't say that it pulls any punches, but it manages to kind of say what it has to say softly. um, so, I was initially a little bit afraid that it wouldn't be very readable, but I found it quite readable. I haven't shared too many videos of readings with this deck over the course of September, primarily because it ended up being a little bit co-opted by the Art History for Past Lives deck, because I was doing the Past Lives workbook exercises. So that has sort of hijacked the month of September. Yeah, so a little less opportunity to play with it, but I've done a couple of readings, like weekly card pulls on my Facebook, and I did something that I chose not to make a video on, that was like, how am I a wounded warrior? And I'm doing this. So, and this is how am I sensitive? And so this will probably be my last, well, maybe not, but possibly my last use of this deck for the month of September. And I came upon this idea, how am I sensitive? Because it wasn't this morning, it must have been yesterday, because the cards kind of sat overnight, I think. I was thinking how I sometimes am not aware or deny ways that I'm sensitive. In other words, things that I need to honor or recognize that I'm sensitive about. So it's funny because growing up, I mean, the last thing I would have thought of myself was being sensitive. Not that I couldn't, I mean, I was a child, so of course I could be emotionally sensitive. But otherwise, I guess I felt like it was a fairly, I don't know, tough is not the right word. Tough is not the right word. Stable, maybe, resilient, durable, all of these things. And then but again, I'm not sure that that was ever even true, or if it was something that was fostered within the family unit, because of the safety of the family and things like that, so I've always felt that if I hadn't had that level of stable environment, if I'd had even a smidgen of the terrible childhoods that some people have had, I would have been a complete basket case. But that stable environment and strong, capable parents, etc., maybe gave me the impression that I was stronger than I actually was, or that it disguised some sensitivities, or I was able to overlook sensitivities and just carry on because I had that support structure there to recover within. So what I was doing was it was the morning time, and and this has been ever since the Lyme disease. I've never been a morning person, and so this is was kind of a case in point. You know, I could always adapt and push through, even though I wasn't a morning person, to abide by the morning lifestyles that industrial society demands. And but I've realized that since getting the Lyme disease, it's like and I've known this for years, but have still tried to work around it, to get around it. That if I am too active in the morning, it really kills me in the afternoon. Whereas if I have a really slow moving, I give myself a lot of time in the morning, then I can stretch through the day. I can survive through the day. And I still have the Lyme disease, and I'm getting older, and I just realized that I'm just really sensitive about the morning. I need to respect, and that's kind of like, it's a self-respect thing. I need to respect that sensitivity. And so the question came to mind, what other things am I not respecting? What other sensitivities have I just been barreling through, and kind of a mild form of torture, undermining I guess I would say my resilience, undermining it by not honoring the things that I'm sensitive about. So I came to this deck and I decided to pull some cards to indicate things that I'm sensitive about. And they just kept coming. I just kept flipping cards and saying, yeah, I think I could see that maybe. So I'm not going to go through all of them because there was like 15 or something, but I'm going to go through a few just as a demo, so to speak, because, this might be worthwhile for others who imagine themselves to not be sensitive when in fact maybe they are. And some of these are things that I already knew about, and I do have, for example, this Four of Wands. I am able to honor. So to me, this Four of Wands, because here in this particular deck, you don't see the people, you don't see a party, you just see the pueblo here. And it looks like it's a few homes, but not very many. It's not a full city. So maybe I'll put this down here. I feel like I need to fill the screen or something. But it looks private to me. It looks like a structure that's private, and I live in my own home, so I'm able to honor my privacy. So that was a kind of an instant recognition there. Well, still, I almost see these as the wands as the people, and these things here as like lines of communication, so still keeping lines of communication open. So the next one was the Six of Pentacles, and in this deck again it's a little bit different, because she's trying to decide. It's like she's trying to decide between two people that she wants to help, who seem like they have an equal amount of need. And you have these bent over little ladies here, and this to me was being sensitive to the distress of others, which to me primarily takes the form of distressed animals. I have a hard time turning turning away or just leaving it up to somebody else. That's where my savior complex can get triggered when it comes to animals. The next one was a little challenging for me, the Queen of Cups. I've always identified more with the Queen of Swords, even though I'm a Cancer. So the first thing that struck me was her beautiful vase there as her cup. And so the immediate thing I thought was sensitive to art, and that is in a positive way, enjoying particularly visual arts. But I'm certainly not as sensitive to art as a lot of people, and so I dug a little deeper there and sat with it a little bit. And so sensitive to containing my emotions or letting my emotions build up. You know, kind of needing a big container for them. But by that, I kind of mean like something that I can focus my emotions on and put a lot of emotion into. And what was interesting was that I wasn't clear on what that would be. And so I've got notes here to do a separate draw around what is that container that I can kind of pour my emotions into. Next. And so some of this stuff came out that makes me think I've been in denial to some extent. So this Five of Wands, and oddly enough, I don't think it's about like conflict or being sensitive to competition. I think this is being sensitive to rejection, because these, it's like there's a tangle of wands here, and then everybody decided to leave. It's like I identify with the wands, and these are a bunch of people who have rejected or turned their back or something. So exclusion, that's the word that finally struck home for me, is sensitive to exclusion. So, which is interesting, because then what happens? I come and I live in a place where I'm like 99% excluded. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. I have connected with people who are of a similar mind, but it's taken a long time to find them. And I think I just need to be aware of this. Again, it's that exposing myself to too much of this, which I have done over the past more than 10 years living here, exposing myself to too much of this is a detriment to me. It undermines my vitality, my robustness, So I'm kind of seeing, when I do this, I see the places where I undermine myself. So if I'm going to, in other words, when I left my family and friends behind and I moved to California, that did not undermine me, because the mindset there is more appropriate to my mindset. So that did not undermine me in the same way that moving to Alabama would progressively undermine me. And it's, it wasn't instantaneous. It's like an erosion. And so I feel like I just need to be aware of that. And I do expect eventually to move up where at least there's a mix, So there are some more people that I could identify with in a variety of ways. So, Five of Wands, Knight of Cups. This was another one, and I had before I was finished, I had all of the cups court except for the king. And this one still is a little bit, I felt it had to do with not being confident. You know, he's like, he's got his cup and he's maybe thinking of offering it, but not thinking that it's maybe what you want, or not that it's bad, not that there's anything wrong with it, but why would you want it? You know, that's, so I think there's, yeah. So it's an interesting question to ask, and it was kind of calling out some rough spots, undeveloped, under nurtured maybe areas, you know, like how can I nurture myself so that this is not my attitude, you know, how can I nurture myself such that I'm more resilient to this erosion that goes on here. How can I be, well, I think that I need to nurture myself in this regard before I can become more comfortable with that sort of presentation. So there needs to be some way to sort of build myself up and fortify myself here. And I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe this will be the last one. You've got the hang of it, and we're getting long here. So, strength. So there's a couple of things I thought of here, but I think it's mainly the need to renew my physical strength and how frequently I need to do that. You know, so essentially I'm sensitive to losing and failing to renew my strength. That's something I need to pay more attention to and honor as a very regular part of my life. I thought this was an appropriate and very serious card to come up. I really need to pay attention to that. So it is, you know, how am I sensitive? But what it's bringing up is things that I need to honor in the way that I live, in my lifestyle. I need to honor these things that kind of undermine my well-being because they're points of sensitivity for me. And yeah, it goes on. And of course I got the death card, of course, because I have grief issues. But anyway, I'm not going to go into it. We're calling this done. So this is a goodbye to the, or nearly. Again, there's one more that I might do publicly here on the channel. So a little goodbye to the Tarot of the Southwest Sacred Tribes, and moving on to Tarot of the Cat People for October. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with. Again, I'm so focused on the on doing the past live stuff that I'm kind of shorting my time with my decks of the month. But I still did get to practice plenty with this, to know that it's to know that it works for me, that it's a keeper, that I don't need to hesitate to pull it out as I had before. I can read with it. It gives me messages that make sense and are helpful. So there we go. Take care, everybody, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.